Hi guys, today I'll be teaching us how to make this halter neck dress. The neckline is slightly box pleated and it has a collar. So sit back, relax and enjoy the tutorial. So to make this dress, I'll be drafting directly on paper so that we'll be able to see the tutorial properly. So this is my pattern paper, and then I have my shoulder and chest line. So usually the distance from shoulder to chest line is half of your armhole circumference measurement. Okay, so if normally you use 9 for your chest line, you want to make this 8. Okay, so that your armhole is not too revealed. Whatever you're using for your chest line, okay, reduce it by 1 inch. Now on the shoulder and chest line, I'm marking half of my shoulder measurement or my across back measurement. I'm going to link it together like so. Alright, then I'm going to create a neckline now. So for the neck weight, because it's having a collar, I'll be doing a very close one. That's 3 inch by either 3 or 3.5, depending on the depth you want to work with. So this is going to be my front neckline, and because I'll be using the same paper for the back pattern, I'll also create my back neckline on this paper. So this is the front. For the back, I'll be doing 1 inch for the neck depth, but before I do that, let me create my shoulder slant, which is 1 inch away from the shoulder line. Then I'm just going to create the armhole. So what I'm doing basically is normal armhole for a basic dress. Okay, now next thing, I'm going to create the back neckline. So I'm just writing down the dimensions. I use 3 by 3. Okay, now for the back, like I said, I'll be doing 1, so it's still the same neck width, but the back neckline is higher and I need 1 inch. So that's why I'm using a different color of pen. This is 3 by 1. Okay, so I hope we understand up to that point. Now the dress, on the chest line, I'll mark quarter of my bust circumference plus 1 inch for side seam allowance. Then after the chest line, the next line you need will be the hemline. You don't need hip line, you don't need waistline. It's a free dress. Okay, so once you determine the hemline, that should be floor length. Okay, you're going to mark like ×2 of your hip circumference measurement. That's quarter rather. So quarter of my hip is 10, so ×2, that will be like 20. Okay, but you can increase it if you want to, but I'm just in I'm marking quarter of the hip measurement ×2. Okay, so that's like saying half of your hip circumference. Now I'll use my ruler to connect the chest line to the hemline. Make sure you use a ruler. So I've connected it like so. You can see chest line to the hemline. It's a very simple tutorial actually. Okay, so now I will be creating the halter neckline design now. Okay, which is pretty simple. There are different styles of halter neck. Okay, but for this one, I would, just create the basic halter neck. Now I'm measuring my back neckline with my tape and the front neckline. You'll be needing this when you want to draft the collar. Okay, so you just measure it. You see where I placed my tape. Don't place it across, just so you place it in such a way that you can measure the curve and write it down somewhere. You'll be using that measurement to calculate the collar. And I have done a detailed tutorial on how to draft a collar. Okay, so I'll be dropping that link in the description box for us to watch. Then you can use the measurement to draft out the collar. Okay, so having done that, the next step is to create the halter style line. So I'll use my curved ruler, okay, and then come down from the shoulder tip with about 1 or 2 inches, depending on how open you want the halter design to be. So I've just done 2 inches away from the shoulder tip there, and I'm using my curved ruler to create the style line. So I'm just going to connect that point, down to the armhole curve there. Yeah. So now we are going to cut out the unwanted parts. When I place this on my fabric, I will be adding seam allowance. So I'm cutting out the unwanted parts, and this is the back neckline. So now I'll be cutting out the back first, adding 1/2 inch to the neckline and the armhole. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and fold my fabric into 2 and cut out the back. Meanwhile, the back is going to be having a zipper, so I'll be adding 1 inch seam allowance to the back. So this is the back here. I've already cut it out. This is the neckline, okay, and I added 1 inch for zipper allowance. I beg your pardon. Okay, so this is my 1 inch for zipper, 1/2 inch at the top, and 1 inch for zipper, 1/2 inch at the armhole there. Okay, now to cut the front, all I will do now is I want to detach my pattern from the fabric here. Okay, the red line is the neckline for my front. I hope we're not confused. So I'm going to trim off the top. I'm trimming off the top part now. Okay, so now I will go ahead and also place this on my fabric to cut out the front. Now for the front, it has a little box split. Okay, so instead of placing the pattern on fold here, it's actually on fold, but I left about 1 inch spacing between the fold and the front pattern. This will enable me to create the box splits, on the center front. So the allowance I left is about 1 inch. This is 1 inch here. Okay, so and then you want to notch the beginning of the neckline, the actual measurement, you want to notch it, so by the time you want to create the box split, you will know where to pleat. So this is the front, and I added 1/2 inch to the neckline and 1/2 inch to the armhole. Okay, so we're going to be cutting out facing for this. So this is how the box split will look like. Just fold in 1/2 inch and also fold in 1/2 inch. Then you're going to have a box pleated neckline like so. Okay, it's really simple, trust me. So now I'm going to cut out facing for the armhole because I don't really like turning with bias. It's not professional. Okay, so I'll just pleat this and use my pin to hold it. So this is how it's going to look like after pleating. Okay, like this. Yeah, then to cut your facing, it's simple. Yeah, it's simple. Facing is just a shorter version of your dress or top. So this is the back piece. All you do is you place your fabric underneath and try to cut out the same thing, but it's just shorter. Okay, so this is it. So the facing should come down at least 3 or 4 inches below the armhole, the chest line. Okay, so that it's not coming out all the time. Okay, then I'll also, before I go to the front, I'll place the facing now and turn the armhole, just the armhole for the back piece. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and turn it. After turning, you're going to have something like this. This is the back piece, okay? Yeah, looking all neat. Then for the front facing, you need to sew the box split first before you can cut out the facing. So this is it. So for you to do that, you might have to use the pattern to cut the facing, okay, or you can still use this and cut the facing directly anyhow. So now I'm going to place the facing on the neckline. Like I always say, facing is a shorter version of the dress or top. So now I'll go ahead and turn the armhole on both sides and give it a good press. Yeah, so this is the front. Yeah, I'm having a little joining. My fabric got exhausted, so you can see a little joining on my facing there. Yeah, but it's inside, so it doesn't really matter. So this is the right side of my dress. Now I'll go ahead and join the dress front and back at the sides. Okay, so I'm taking one of the back piece, I'll place it, join it at one side here with 1 inch side seam allowance all the way down. Same thing for the second side. Like I said, for the collar, I have done a detailed tutorial on how to drag the collar. All you need to do that collar is the measurements we took down initially. Okay, so here I finished turning the sides. This is it. So next thing now is to fix the collar. So like I said, I have done a detailed tutorial on how to draft a collar. In that video, I did collar stand and the main collar. So you're going to cut out the collar stand. Just watch it. I explain in details. So now my collar, I'm going to notch the center of my collar and the center of my dress. And then the center is supposed to be the location of the box split. Okay, so just notch it. Now after notching, I'm going to start sewing from the lining of the collar. Okay, which is the lower piece. So I'm going to pin that to my dress. Yeah, so you're going to pin that to the front, the middle of the front piece, and then you know the neckline is not complete, like it's not a complete neckline, so it's the collar that will make up for that part. Now once you pin the center, you go ahead and pick the neckline at the back and attach it to the collar too, at the tail end of the collar. All right, you're going to pin it together like so, and the other side. So you go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance. It's a very easy tutorial, trust me. So I'll just do that and go ahead to sew it on one side of the collar. Yeah, so after sewing, this is what you're going to have. You can see. Then of course, now on the outer part, I'm going to fold in 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, and go ahead and stitch it, and we're done. So this is the outcome of the dress. You can see it's very lovely, like very lovely, very easy to make. You can see the spacing between the front and the back. Okay, the neckline. Then you can just make like a rope or sash. If you want to, you know, add the rope to yours, it's fine. If you want to just wear it flowing like that, it's fine. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave your comments and reaction. You could also tell me what tutorial you'd like me to do, okay, in the comment section, and I'll be glad to do that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.